Welcome back, everyone, to our episode 2 of the self-care series that I'm rolling out today. I have a good friend with me, Margaret Ann Standridge. I am so glad that she could join us. I'm excited to learn what she's going to have for us. I hope you guys took a lot away from Andrew, and I know that we'll take away something different with Margaret Ann. Margaret Ann's a good friend of mine. She works with me also at Chenal Family Therapy, is also an LCSW. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy her. I know her clients love her, and she teaches me a lot. And so I'm just going to kind of hand it over to you, Margaret Ann, and I can't wait to know what we're going to learn.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited about the self-care series you're doing. I'm excited to watch the rest of them. I really enjoyed the one a couple of days ago. So like Katie said, I work at Chenal Family Therapy. I see adults and kids, pretty much all ages, mainly work with depression and anxiety and kind of adjusting to life stressors. And I think, as we all know, what we're going through right now is a huge life stressor. Just being quarantined, dealing with a pandemic. And so I hope that I can talk about some things you can do at home, self-care wise, to really help you kind of feel better, feel like you're able to adjust to this new normal. So, I've made a few notes. I might look down just so I can stay on topic. And these are things that'll work for kids and adults. You might just have to kind of modify them a little bit. So I think the biggest thing I'm noticing right now is just how important it is to really create like some structure and some routine. It's so easy right now to feel very like out of control and like everything's out of our control. And so kind of if you're able to get a routine down for just a few hours of the day, it helps you feel like you have a little more control. So, we're seeing a lot of people kind of shift from like one extreme to another. So one day they're super productive, do all these things, and then the next day it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. And then they kind of do nothing. And then you feel like, okay, you feel sluggish, you feel down. So I try to encourage people to find a routine that you have some moderation. It's something you can kind of do every day that doesn't exhaust you. So a few things that I kind of try to incorporate into a routine and tell my clients is going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, I think is really helpful. Making your bed and then changing out of your pajamas. It's so easy to just kind of like stay in our pajamas right now, not do a whole lot. But it really, I think that helps like, okay, it's a new day, I'm getting out of bed, it's kind of time to be productive, and helps kind of jumpstart your day the right way. And then I also think just getting some movement, like some sort of exercise, that really helps release endorphins and kind of get your day started on the right foot. So I encourage everyone to kind of do that right now so that we don't feel like we're just stuck inside. And then another thing to just incorporate into your routine is like one new thing a day. So, so we don't get stuck on like, man, I've been binging Netflix for 5 days now. You feel, I know, yeah, there's lots of good shows out there right now, thankfully. But it's easy to get caught up in like, I feel like I've done the same thing every day. Like, what am I doing here? And really, I've heard a lot of people just saying like, I feel sluggish, I feel down. And so I think doing something new. And so, that can be going for a walk. I know a lot of people are like listening to podcasts, having game nights, just to feel like, okay, I did something different today that I didn't do yesterday. And so kind of helping feel like a new day. So kind of going along the same lines with the routine is I think it's really important right now to limit like our screen time and our exposure to the media and social media. Right now, I think it's a constant reminder of like, this pandemic we're in, and everyone is sort of in panic mode, which is so contagious. When everyone else is in panic mode, it's like, well, I should be freaking out too right now. And so, I've been telling people, like, limit it to 30 minutes a day. And that's kind of your time to think about the pandemic, like read about articles, watch the news. But other than that, really just limiting it, because it's kind of contributes to those feelings of being down. And then another thing is, it's so easy to compare ourselves to everyone else on social media. And so whether it's like telling yourself, man, they look like they're really thriving during this quarantine, like, what's wrong with me that I'm struggling? Or it can be the opposite of kind of minimizing what you're going through. So instead of kind of validating your feelings and saying, like, man, I'm really struggling right now, you're like, well, so-and-so lost their job, and so, like, why am I struggling? Why am I feeling bad? And so, I think we really need to give ourselves time to, like, okay, what I'm going through is tough. It might not be as bad as someone else, but really comparing ourselves can really lead to just feeling down. So kind of shifting gears to, a lot of y'all might be struggling with, like, okay, I'm in the same house as my family that I wasn't planning on spending, either homeschooling, being coworkers with, and it can really lead to, I think, some irritability and just feeling like maybe you're not being supported in the way that you kind of need to. And so one thing like I said earlier, I've been really into listening to podcasts right now just to kind of help give me some advice during this. And one of my favorites is Brene Brown's new one. And she talks about coming up with a gap plan. And so I think this is something that, I would encourage everyone to kind of implement it in some way. But what this is, like, we expect, let's say we have 4 people in our family, we expect them all to, like, contribute an equal amount a lot of times, and that's really not realistic, especially right now. I think instead of functioning at your normal 25%, a lot of people are at 20%. And so kind of one way to do this is just asking your family, like, how can I support you right now? Can I cook dinner tonight to help, like, so that maybe tomorrow you can function a little better? Or can I take care of some of your chores so that tomorrow, you feel like you're in a better place? So, I think that helps right now, just kind of figure out, like, how can we support each other? How can we be there for each other? And I think especially when you have like extroverts and introverts, like some people, and I know Katie and I have talked about this because I'm like, I'm over here struggling, and she tells me she's thriving. So really, like, if you're living with people that are doing good right now, it's kind of like hard for them to understand, okay, why are you struggling? So just kind of trying to keep that in mind. Another thing that I think everyone's, whether you're an introvert or extrovert, everyone's struggling with some feelings of just, like, isolation, like grief, really, like, where I've heard a lot of people saying, like, I'm grieving, the life I had before all this, like having family dinners every Sunday night or whatever it is. And so that's really hard to, go from being around your family so much to really feeling isolated. And I think some guilt can come along with that, especially with, like, elderly family members. It's like, man, I'm not there for them right now. And so I think, my biggest thing throughout this whole quarantine has been kind of like get creative, to figure out how can we adjust to this new normal so that we can reduce those feelings of isolation and guilt. And so, I've I've really encouraged people like have FaceTime dates with your friends and family, you know, virtual game nights, like I said earlier. I know there's like Netflix watch parties. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard. And so I think really getting creative with that and doing those things. You know, another one I've heard people doing like more with grandparents and stuff is like meeting in the park in your car, you know, having lunch together that way. You know, I think it's not the same, but it gives us that feeling of like, okay, I did something good. Helps give you the opportunity to really feel connected. Because I think that's what we're all experiencing is like this weird feeling of, you know, not being as connected. I mean, you're not going to work, you know, things are different. So, and kind of going along with that, I think it's really easy to get in this mindset of like negative self-talk and, you know, getting stuck on like all the things that are kind of anxiety provoking right now. And I think it's good to be aware that you feel that way and like, you know, okay, I'm feeling anxious today, but trying to just kind of be aware of that and shift gears. So in trying to make yourself have more of like a positive internal dialogue. And so I'm big on worry time. So like I'm feeling pretty anxious, but I'm going to let myself focus on that this evening instead of letting it kind of, I call it like have a free for all of just thinking about what you're worrying about all day long. And so to kind of help get yourself in that more positive frame of mind, I encourage people to really do a lot of gratitude, just like a daily gratitude exercise. And I think we know a lot, like I'm thankful for the house I live in, I'm thankful for my health, but you know, we really have to think about those smaller things that we take for granted. And so that's what really makes us feel grateful is when we can remember, especially now, like all those things we took for granted, you know, like going to a restaurant and sitting down with friends, you know, we all of a sudden can't do that. And so trying to be grateful for like experiences that we have. So I'm thankful for, you know, that FaceTime date I had with my friends, you know, to really help me feel connected. Or I'm thankful that, you know, my family was able to get together for dinner tonight. You know, I think those are good things to acknowledge right now. I think, you know, I've seen so much about how this really is like a trauma for so many of us. And, you know, so we're not in the same mindset we were pre-quarantine, you know, might be feeling a little more exhausted than usual, even when we haven't really done anything. And so, kind of going back to that, what I talked about with the routine, like definitely give yourself time to relax, like watch a Netflix show, take a nap if you need it. You know, like I said, trying to find that moderation so that it's something that's sustainable that you can do. So I think that's all I have for you, Katie. Do you have any questions, or I feel like that went by so quick?
Yeah, no, that was so great. There was a few things I was just thinking of in addition. First of all, you and Andrew both gave the advice of making my bed, and I just don't think I can do
it. I like go through phases, and so right now I'm pretty much willing to take whatever will help me. So I'm like, I'm gonna make my bed, and you know,
I have
hope
never,
that it makes me feel better.
will never be a bed maker. My kids are not bed makers, but if I am that desperate, I don't know. I might have to check out some other things if I ever get to that point. I do love that. I love what it means. I love what it represents. It is great research-based evidence, actually, just to show, you know, it is great. The other thing that you mentioned that I thought is such a good point is people handle this different. And when I personally am overwhelmed or a lot is happening, I'm an overfunctioner. So, right, I say thriving in this, and I mean maybe professionally is what I mean, but I mean that I'm doing all the things with my kids. We're going on walks daily. We're painting our front door. I have an activity window. I'm doing everything. And people might look at that and be like, oh, wow, Katie is doing amazing.
Yeah.
Really, that's just how I function. I feel just as distraught and a little bit of hopeless and all that. And so I love not looking at others on social media.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, and that's one thing Brene Brown just did a podcast on. I don't know if you heard it, but the over-functioning and under-functioning, and it was really interesting to hear, you know, how some people, they just kind of shut down, and others, you know, are like, no, this is the plan, we're gonna get this done, and so that's kind of where that gap plan can come in really handy to be like, okay, I'm an under-functioner, you're an over-functioner, how can we come together and kind of support one another?
I love that. I love the gap plan that you talked about.
Yes.
And, especially like what me and my husband have had to do to survive is we have split roles as much as I can. And I said, he's an amazing cook. So I said, here's the deal. You do all the cooking, and I'll do all the cleaning. But then if I notice that he doesn't get up and start doing lunch or dinner, I'm not like, hello, agreement, boundaries. I'm just that signaling. So maybe I get up, or guess what? Maybe my kids eat a piece of bread. Like, we're surviving. Like, I don't know. If he, like the other day, he took the clothes out of the hamper and started folding it because I just didn't have it. And so it's setting roles and boundaries, but also like noticing and helping. And I think that's just giving grace. And then the last thing that I loved, and my client gave me this idea the other day. I am in quarantine, out of quarantine, it doesn't matter. I am so structure based. I want to I want routine. I thrive off that. My kids thrive off that. Like, I want it. And I had my client had the greatest idea. She, for her daughter, set her Alexa alarm to go different times during the day. So like at 9 o'clock every day, it says it's PE time. It's PE time. It's PE time. And then like noon, it's lunchtime. It's lunchtime. And so it rings and tells kiddo what time it is. 3 o'clock, school day's over, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so then if mom is like in the other room having to do work, the Alexa is still keeping her on track.
That is such a good idea. Yeah. And one thing I meant to mention with the routine and kind of going along with like these feelings of being out of control right now, or like that, you know, someone else has control over everything. I always encourage my clients to really kind of make a list of like what is in my control right now and what is not. Because if we spend all our time thinking about what's not in our control, then we're really not being productive. And so, you know, I think that's a great idea. I like that. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm going to do it, especially when my husband has to go back to work soon, and it's just me and the kids and homeschooling. I'll be using Alexa all day long. I cannot thank you enough for joining us. That's just a nugget. We appreciate it. I know everyone who's listening appreciates it. And I know that they'll really I know I took stuff away. There's stuff I was sitting over here on my phone, if I ever look down, writing down. So much good stuff. So is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think, you know, those are the main things I'm really suggesting to kind of help get through this, because it's definitely a new normal and kind of taking some adjusting. So
absolutely. And a lot of these can transfer into normal life after the pandemic is over. So once again, we thank you. Thank everyone for tuning in, and I will see you guys back here next Tuesday. Have a good week.
Thank you.